Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton, Geoffrey, and Adam Ross, as we are each week. Every week it's a different day, so thanks for finding us every week. We appreciate it. We had some engine troubles, let's say. Our mainframe computer that runs all the stuff for us was on its last leg, and Spencer was limping through the last few weeks, and we said, just get it fixed. So computers are being repaired, and we're on a bit of a skeleton crew tonight. Just me and you, Adam. No videos, no pictures, no guests. All they
It's
get
all
is
good, man. So before we get rolling, thank you so much to the people who have already chimed in and let us know that you're here. Throw out some opinions, folks, and opinions on anything you want. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll try to follow along with that. We've got a few things to chat about. First and foremost, Clint, I want to talk about your back. You were complaining just before we came on. You're complaining the day before one of the most grueling 3-day events of our season. What's going on?
I blame Delaware because, most guys can't pinpoint the time they go over the hill. For me, it was September 21st, 2022, when I stepped on the trailer a year ago. Actually, today, maybe that's what it is, it's the anniversary. I stepped backwards, and man, my back just threw out. I was a mess all weekend. I got something going on the back. I'm here at the Speedway in Glenn's Man Cave, and he just grabbed me by the back and said, I'll fix you. And I'm like, oh, no, you won't. You take those meat hooks off me, sir. And I'll try and get to the Cairo in the morning before we go, but wow, what a busy week. We have obviously just finished Osh Weekend season. We finished a lot of the other seasons around here as well. We got Delaware's finale tomorrow and Saturday. We got the NASCAR finale Sunday at Delaware. You got Apple Fest this weekend. What am I forgetting? So much other stuff going on. It's a good time of year.
It's a great time of year, especially, like Albert says, because of the weather forecast. We've got a very positive weather forecast coming up, so it should be a great weekend. Delaware, the atmosphere there is awesome for this show. There is not a better facility to have the end of the year for Superstocks APC, and especially to me, the NASCAR Pinty Series, because I've seen this series end in a lot of different places, whether it was Kawartha, whether it was Jukasa. I thought one year we might have ended the schedule at St. Eustache, but I'm not sure about that. But nothing has the atmosphere that Delaware does. It's the right place to be.
Well, let's face it, the lineage of that series comes from CASCAR. It's the traditional home of that tour, no matter what you're calling it these days, the NASCAR Pinty Series, the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series, CASCAR. It all emanates from that one spot. Like I took our broadcast trailer there this afternoon and to see the Performance Fiberglass body shop right out front. I mean, that's where all the bodies come from. Great to see. But let's talk about Delaware, what they've built in the past few years, Adam. Since this new ownership group took over, they've really tried to work in this weekend into a great finale weekend. And man, this is our third straight year going there camping. It takes a lot for us to get off our asses and go out and put the effort in to go camp for the weekend. So that shows you what kind of atmosphere it is, that we don't want to stay in hotels. We don't want to drive home. We want to be on the site. And that's a big thing.
Yeah. We actually get to be race fans because almost every other race weekend of the year, we a weekend Friday night, then we pick up and go somewhere else. Sometimes we go 2 more places over the weekend. So it's just very nice to be able to settle into one spot and live there for a few days and have some downtime, which I'm looking forward to. It's fun to be able to chat with people and kind of hang out a little bit. So, yeah, Trayton basically just has to show up and he's won the championship. Championship weekend at Flamborough Speedway as well. And Mike Schmidt just announced for the Oscar Hot Rods, there's going to be an igloo given away. And cool trophies, man. I love cool trophies. And Mike Schmidt and Frostoberfest is a pretty cool trophy, those igloos.
I always felt like it was later in the year. It seems like Frostoberfest next year is fast. But let's look at what we've got coming up.
There used to be Oktoberfest and Frostfest. And they were 2 separate events. And they kind of joined them together. Have we talked much about what Mike Schmidt did, canceling the super stocks for that weekend? Like, I think it was a bold move and absolutely the right move because he is rewarding the divisions that supported John Casale and Flamborough Speedway. And the super stocks didn't, even though they would put on a great show. He says that's not the point of this event. The point of this is to to pay good money and support divisions that supported the track all year long. So they move in the mini stocks and move out the super stocks.
Yeah, just a bit of our broadcast schedule coming up this week. So tomorrow we'll be live with the Quick Rick Super Stocks and some of the Delaware divisions live on GeForce at 7:30. Saturday we come back in the evening once again, and we'll be at it with the APC series and the Hot Rods going at it along with the Modifieds on Saturday. Then Sunday it's the Bone Stocks and the NASCAR Pinty series. That will be on Flow Racing and TSN Plus. So you catch Adam, myself, and Greg Cowan's going to jump on the broadcast Sunday, which is exciting. We always love having Greg join us for the NASCAR stuff. So he'll be calling the stream on Flow and TSN Plus. Then Monday, I've got it right here on my phone. You might have seen the release come out today. Our TSN, the Canadian Dirt Tour broadcast, comes out, race number 6 from the Action Sprint Tour. From Monday, August 14th, it's going to be broadcast Monday at 12:30. Tuesday at 3 p.m. And there's a whole list of broadcast dates there. So make sure you check that out Monday afternoon. Sprint cars on TSN. It's the Sit and Bull Shootout, which has been really cool. Next week we're at Humberstone. Friday, Saturday for the Fall Classic and the Sprint car finales. And then the following week, for the first time ever, we're looking like we're going to be at Autumn Colors Classic for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, getting that broadcast as well. So excited to be out there doing that. And that'll wrap it up for the G4 schedule. So this weekend, Delaware, next weekend, Humberstone, the weekend after, Autumn Colors Classic at Peterborough, and then we're done for the season with our live streams.
And that, to answer your question, Alvers, that is full G-Force coverage up at Autumn Colors. So you're getting the whole meal deal up there. It should be a fun weekend. It was surprising. It was shocking to us to put that deal together because promoters, the asphalt promoters, haven't entirely embraced us being there to stream. And JP was a little skeptical himself initially. I don't know what changed Clinton. We have a great relationship with him. So get up there, go to the racetrack. But for those who can't, for those whose families say, hey, you're not allowed to go away, it's Thanksgiving weekend, we've got you covered. I think it'll be a great show. It'll be a lot of fun. Mike Carrot, yes, we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that shortly, and that'll probably take up a little bit of conversation for a while.
Yeah, they will also be joining us will be Ben and Charlie, and I think Brendan Doherty is going to be also on the weekend, along with Adam and myself for Autumn Colors. So excited about that. McLean Callinan, what are you doing watching the show? Aren't you supposed to be calling micro sprints in the backyard 200 meters from me right now, commenting on the show? I am still your boss, Get back to work.
It's probably Greg. He's in the closet. He's commenting as McLean.
We just figured it out. Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Well, let's talk about Mike Bowman. Let's talk about the Sprint Car Nationals and the protests that came about after the race. First off, let's talk about the race. Let's take our time with this. It was a great show, I felt. Sam Haferteep led the first. Sam Haferteep almost destroyed his car in turn 1 of lap 1 on the complete restart. Almost destroyed the thing. Came back, led a bunch of laps. Mike Bowman took the lead. It was a great battle. And then Bowman's car, and what you'll find, Clinton, now I'm going to wait until later to share this, once we get into the arguments back and forth. But Bowman won the race. He held on to win $30,000 in one day.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack from that. Maybe we should back it up, talk about payouts first. So we agreed to pay 10,000 Canadian to win like it had traditionally been the past few years. Then it started with Brian, Big Brian, from Brian Palace from Riverside Bait and Tackle. He messaged me and said, hey, I want to throw 10 grand at tomorrow's race during Friday's event. And it was like 9 o'clock at night. And I said, you serious? And he said, real serious. So I went and saw Glenn. I said, if Big Brian says we're doing it, he says that we're doing it. So we announced that. And the next morning I wake up to Brandon Stiers, who Brando messaged me, says, hey, I want to throw 10 grand at it. And I'm like, you serious? And now we're at 30,000 to win because, of course, like these guys, they want it all up top instead of spreading it through. Then at 4 o'clock, Danny and Uncle Ryan Burnham called me from Sit Bull and Nitro 54 and said, hey, we want to throw 10 grand each at this play day. So we spread that out through the field. So it ended up being 30,000 to win and 1750 minimum to start. So just shy of $2,000 to qualify. So major kudos to our sponsors. Sure, we'd like to spread it out better. And I got to talking with Dan Ancook after the race Saturday in the pits, and we're going to get all them guys in a room ahead of time, and we'll be able to do up some really good stuff next year. Make sure we're getting the full bang for our buck to advertise this money's being paid. I had some other sponsors tell me, don't take it, save it for next year. I'm like, when these guys want to give it up, we're taking it today. It might not be here next year. We're going for it. So we went for it, which was amazing.
Alvers, hold that thought, because I do want to talk about that. Doesn't necessarily apply here, but it's a good next conversation.
So Mike Bowman goes on to win the race. At the end of the race, I got talked with Sam Haferteep, and he said, there's been a lot of chatter this year, let's call it. And he said, I think we might want to protest. We asked him, what do you want? And he said, we would like the box and the magneto sent off. So no problem. We took the protest fee. We started to set about getting it. It was his and Mike's going. Nobody felt that Liam Martin had anything in that situation. So Liam got to just skate through in third. Not skate through, but they cubed the cars. They checked for fuel. It was pretty intensive tech aside from confiscating parts. At the end of the night, and talking to Mike Bowman, Mike said, I fully get it. He goes, if I was in their shoes, I would have done it. He goes, to me, I'm not insulted by this. He goes, this is no different than icing the kicker. Taking a shot at $25,000, why wouldn't you? Even if there was no chatter or bullshit going on this year. I get it.
So legitimate protest, the MSD box, the magneto sent off. But to back that up a little bit, I've only seen this with Mike Bowman before. People don't think that Mike is cheating. There are people who are convinced 100% undoubtedly he is cheating. And it happened to him before at Maryville. There was people who were absolutely convinced. And it's not everybody. There's a lot of people who support him. I like going back and looking at the facts. And I've said this to you on the side. Let me throw some facts at you from the 35-lap Sprint Car Nationals. Haferteep was the fastest car. I only looked at the top four. So I didn't worry about anybody else. Of the top four, Sam Haferteep was the fastest car 13 out of the 35 laps. 6 consecutive laps, he was the fastest car on the track. Mike Bowman was the fastest car on the track, 6 laps. And only 2 laps in a row was Mike Bowman the fastest car on the track. Liam Martin had the fastest lap 9 times. 5 laps in a row, Liam Martin was the fastest car on the track, and those were laps 23 through 27. And Dylan Westbrook was the fastest car 7 laps, and 3 of those laps were consecutive, laps 18, 19, and 20. So Mike Bowman was only the fastest car on the track 6 of the 35 laps. Only 2 laps in a row was he the fastest car on the track. But what you will find with Bowman is that didn't vary a whole lot throughout the race. So Haferteep also was the last driver in the race to turn out a 15-second lap, a lap in the 15-second bracket. So when you start bringing and I know that's just a stopwatch, that's just the clock. A lot of things factor into that, including traffic, including situation. Bowman's laps were much closer, and his fall off was much less than anybody else. But still, the last 10 laps of the race, the cars that were the fastest, so Haferteep was super fast in the first half. The last 10 laps, Liam Martin was the fastest car on the track 7 of the last 11 laps. 7 of the last 12. Those are things that you don't think about, but Mike situationally got himself to the front. He could run more lines on the track. Sam Haferteep. So the reason I'm saying all this, I have no problem with the protest. I don't blame Sam Haferteep or the race team for doing what they did. I just wish, to me, if someone ran a perfect race, if someone did everything right and still came up short, that would suck. It would be fishy. Haferteep made a lot of mistakes. His car, to me, only looked great on the top. And the top went away. The top disappeared by the end of the race. There was no cushion. It was burnt off all the way to the outside. A yellow flag in that race Saturday or on Pinty's week in the last 5 laps of those races would have changed the outcome of those races. Bowman might still have won, but it would have been a different race because cars that were faster than him at the end of the race could have started alongside him and really had a battle. But in all of those races that paid a total of $50,000 to win, the 2 360 midweek shows and the Sprint Car Nationals, $50,000 to win, had no yellow flags late in the race. Bowman had already got out in front and drove away. So I know I'm being long-winded, but we have a whole hour. The moral of all that story is circumstances had a lot to do with Mike winning. Consistency had a lot to do with it. Getting himself into the right spot at the right time. But again, protest him and see what happens. That's what that rule is there for. And I'm looking forward, like anybody else, to seeing what the results are. But it's unfortunate how utterly convinced certain people are that he is cheating with traction control.
Yeah, I think there's a tale of a couple of different stories here, and to me, a lot of people, we grew up around the modified world at Merrittville Speedway, so we understand where Mike came from. But I can see how a sprint car guy sees this guy who they never heard of last year comes in and starts waxing all these guys. So any of us who have seen what Mike grew up racing understand why he could be good. And I think it was one of our other guys that said, this isn't the first time a modified guy came out and was a badass sprint car on that type of track. Reference back to Steve Poirier and Chuck Hebing, and the list goes on and on of drivers who come out. Matt Billings is showing he can do it after coming out of modified into the sprint. Yeah. So, I mean, that type of car translates very well to a sprint car once you can figure out the momentum. I mean, that's why Mike wasn't winning last year. He was still slowing down too much and not carrying enough speed into the turns, driving it like a modified. And I think once he got that up to speed, it got a lot better. So, I mean, I'm not here to make any excuse for Mike. We're going to let the manufacturer make the determination. So my Monday morning and afternoon was tied up going after and getting all the information and setting this deal together to ship these parts back to the manufacturer. This is not something that that is new to them. They do this all the time for sanctioning bodies. So they will be pulling these parts apart and trying to see if they can figure out if any of these parts had any type of traction control stuff added to them that didn't come from the manufacturer. So the question is, what happens if Mike is found legal? Well, he gets his money in a good handshake, and they will lose the protest money. If Mike is not, this is the one race where we will move everybody up, and if they both come back clean, Mike gets his win. If Mike's out, then Sam would get the win. If they're both out, then I guess it goes to Liam Martin. But that's a long shot situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, the court of public opinion is hard to change. The people who are convinced that Mike is cheating will probably remain convinced. The same way people who were convinced that Matt Williamson was cheating at Merrittville Speedway, you're not going to change their mind through a simple, even a complicated series of tests. It's hard to do. And I think that's why Mike Bowman has had so much frustration when you have conversations with him. And he takes it on the chin. He takes it like a champ. But at the same time, it's like, it really sucks because you're not going to change their minds. You'd hope for at some point for someone to come up, shake his hand, and say, job well done. And people did that. But not everybody did that. And that's their right. We can't take that away from them.
I just want to read you a message I got from Sam Haferteep. So after we said, okay, I said this to the two teams. Tech update. I've worked with MSD throughout the day to send the pictures and prepare a work order for the tests now taking place at their facility. At 5 o'clock Monday, they gave me the work order number and information on where and how to send. The boxes of Magner went out in the Tuesday morning shipment. He said because we're a sanctioning body and requesting this type of testing, they will put us to the front of the line. It should take less than a week to get the results. Sam Hafty wrote back, I appreciate you guys willing to tech as well as you do. We run with many series that do very little. It's nice to see you guys put in the effort. So aside from the protest, Sam still said we did a lot of good testing. The motors were cubed. There was all kinds of stuff. The oil inspection plug was taken out. They were looking up there with scopes. I can't tell you what they're looking for. I don't know. I'm an announcer, but our tech guys did a good job. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
It's worth sharing.
Let this be over as soon as possible as well.
It's worth sharing publicly, Clinton, whether you want to or not. Clint loves catching cheaters, right? For years. It's always been, we want to catch the cheaters. The goal is to never catch one because the goal is for everyone to be even. But Clint goes above and beyond to try to find cheaters, call them out, and have a level playing field. And you really don't hear as much bullshit at Ohsweken as you do at a lot of other places because it's serious. Tech is taken very seriously. Clint, I think we should talk about the other situation. We don't need to be specific. We don't need to name names, but we should talk about etiquette because that was some nasty etiquette.
I'm not even going there. I'll deal with that outside of this platform.
It's already dealt with, but I think people don't walk into someone else's pit stall. My rule.
It's true.
How you leave someone's pit stall is up to the person whose pit stall you walked into. Same thing goes for tech. If you walk through someone's space in tech that's not your space, don't expect any rules to apply to you. If you get tossed out on your ear, you're going to get tossed out on your ear. There's things you can do in racing and there's things that you can't do. It's kind of a look but don't touch, look but don't photograph, don't measure. I've seen people try to measure stuff before. That's bad form. You don't do
I thought you were talking about a
stuff.
different situation. We can definitely talk about that.
No. Okay.
So we have had a problem lately with other drivers and teams walking into the tech area, taking pictures of other drivers' setups, taking pictures of the scale pad and their percentages. So at the end of the night, we basically put out a rule, and there'll be addressed next year at Ohsweken. You know what? That's just dirty pool. You know, we're as transparent as we can be, but you shouldn't be going up and looking into someone else's car, taking pictures without permission. Even I was joking with Adam Turner in the pits, and he was up looking at someone's car and said, "Get out of there." He said, "No, I asked if I could look at it before we went in there." So these are just, it's one of those things where you have to have a bit of class. You got to watch. Sure, you want to make sure the tech's doing a good job. We get that, and you're welcome to keep an eye on us if you're in the tech barn. But if you're not even in the tech, you shouldn't be walking in and just taking pictures of other people's stuff, and they're the way they've set their crop. It's just not right.
And John S., here's why it matters. You can walk into anybody's pit area. You can walk near tech. You don't have the right. Freedom of speech doesn't apply when you walk into someone's personal space, right? Your constitutional rights don't apply when you get into someone's bubble. And that's what was going on a little bit. So people need to know etiquette. It's possible they didn't know that, but it's pretty damn unlikely at this point. So, it was worth bringing up, Clint, I think, because people need to know certain things. But so my point there, drivers are always going to walk into other drivers' pits. Hey, how's the wife and kids? Hey, did you see this? You can't have a rule like that because if driver C looks down the way and says, "Hey, Dylan Westbrook just walked into Mike Bowman's pit," I'm going to protest it. And if it's a black and white rule, oh shit, what do we do now? It's a rule, you can't go in there. Even if he was going in there to swap recipes, you got to be careful in setting certain rules because the golden rule is the one that really matters. Just same at the racetrack. There's a bunch of things you don't need written out in rule books, but might get you punched in the mouth.
True. So we will have results from that. I called the manufacturer late today, didn't get a response yet, so we'll wait and see what happens when it all comes down. Hopefully we have an answer for these guys start of the week, if not tomorrow. As soon as we have an answer, we'll let everybody know. But what a great season it was at Osh Weekend. I mean, great to have everything come out the way it did. Track worked out well. Sprint car nationals were amazing. So many great things going on. Let's talk about this. I don't know anything about the bone stock ram and the other bone stock. Do you know anything about that situation, Adam? I'm not up to speed on it.
Yeah, so anything that happens at Sunset is kind of a well-kept secret, right? Like not a lot of stuff escapes there. I saw some cell phone video. Before we get to that, I heard the late model race was fantastic. I heard it was a real barn burner with the top three. How about two Shaws finishing in the top three? Dale won the race. Sam Shaw finished in third, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, there was a couple of bone stocks who started ramming the other under yellow and then drove backwards down the track pretty fast. And that's, you've got to be assertive when you run a racetrack. And you got to remove that situation immediately. Not talk about them leaving. I mean, remember at Jukasa when Jordan House had that fight with the driver from the States? I forget who he was. That driver got walked to the road.
Yeah.
Like, that's how serious it is. You want to make that kind of an ass of yourself. You are exiting the facility. Get that stuff out of there and remove the issue.
I think that was the highlight of your calling career, one of them. Calling that fight.
It got some. Yeah, it got some play.
Oh, really? Someone got banned for 2 years? It could happen. That's okay. Let's talk about this situation. So, when you're a guest at a speedway, you're a guest in someone's house. We don't have to keep you here. If they don't like the way you're talking, they can ask you to leave. Like this, there's no union. It isn't public. So you really need to mind your P's and Q's, especially when you're using a weapon of mass destruction, a car, to ram at someone else.
Yeah.
Because should someone get hurt or killed because of that situation, the tracks are in a shit ton of problems too. It doesn't just go, oh, that was John against Bob, we wash our hands. It becomes a big, big trouble spot for that.
Yeah.
So, I'll tell you what, we just had a guy here with the race car in the pits at Osh Weekend during microsprints. Ripped down back way, did a few donuts, ripped back the other way. Glenn came right to the house, said, you can pack up, not welcome here, just leave. He was gone in about 2 minutes, never to be seen again. So it just goes to show, you're someone else's backyard, you got to behave yourself. And that goes for us too.
Yeah.
Like, I had one driver come up chirping me after the race, and they're very lucky if they'll be let back next year. Whether your dad's a sponsor or not, you can't be an asshole like that and expect to be welcome back in the backyard. So
yeah,
we'll deal with that.
Oh, that's a good comment, stickers and scuffs. So let's go back to Alvar's comment, because we told him we would when we were done the tech talk about it used to be when you won a race, you'd start at the back. Which was true, except in events like the Oswego Classic, stuff like that, you had qualifying fast cars to the front. Stop me if I'm wrong, Alvars, but I don't think I am. It used to be there was a huge difference between the fast cars and the slow cars, to the point where the fast car could work their way through traffic in a 35-lap race. Whatever the length of the race was, they could get from the back to the front. Anymore, and I don't care if you're talking about sprint cars or you're talking about late models, there is so much parity anymore. Racing is different. It is so hard to pass cars. It is so hard to be that much better than anybody else that it would be pretty challenging to put someone all the way to the back. I think APC has it right, if you don't mind me saying, with their top 10 invert from qualifying. Putting the top car in the points from qualifying. If you qualify in the top 10, the high driver in points, or someone who hasn't been there all the time, is going to start 10th. I think that's a fair invert. Second part of this point was it used to be there was A and B classes, whether it was super modifieds, whatever the case, hobby cars. If you won a championship one year, you had to move up the following year. And there's still a lot of question about things like that. Oh, Dave Bailey should have to move up. He should have to get into a crate sprint. He drove a crate sprint. It wasn't his jam. He's going to stay in the Thunderstocks. That has changed also. Those rules don't exist anymore that you have to move up. Now, there's way too freaking many classes. Used to be much simpler. There were fewer classes. Now, you can make your own championship. Just start your own division, or if one's already out there, start a spin-off from it. Just build yourself a
Don't
trophy and
encourage
stay
that.
home.
Don't encourage
It
that. As a
drives.
promoter, you have to deal with too many of those clowns trying to get shit rolling. Come on, let's talk about where we need to be, though. You know, like Dave Bailey, he wants to race 3 nights a week at the tracks he's happy at. He can't do that in Parade Sprint. Like you said, it's not his deal. I think back to Abel Castelline many years ago. Told me sprint cars are cool, but he goes, I want to race a late model or something. I'm a fendered guy. I don't care about these old blue cars. They don't do it for me. And I get that. I remember having that conversation with my dad. I said, well, Dad, what happened if you didn't have the money to move up to the next class? He's like, you had to quit? Like, well, I don't know how
You
fair
took
that
a year.
is, but
I think you only had to take 1 year off. But can you imagine that today? Like you take a year off, you're going to find something else to do.
Fran
don't get me going
else.
on novice classes. I can't stand them.
Let's talk about it.
So, and I
no, I don't
again,
want to bitch about it first.
Okay, go ahead. I want to say why they came about.
Okay, you say why we came about, and I'll tell you why we don't need them.
Whenever there's a class with too many cars, and Sportsman is that class at some racetracks, what a lot of tracks have done is create a novice class, a class for beginners to cut their teeth in. And it's not like you get more track time because you're not running in the regular feature. You're just racing against other novices. So that's what they've created, a separate class so you don't have to go out and race with the established James Michael Friesens of the world or people that have run Sportsman for a while. You get your own pond to swim in.
Hate it. I get it, how it helps some people out, man, but all the racing we grew up on, and still 90% of... What's that?
Who does it help?
Scaredy cats who are worried to just go out and get in there, jump in like we used to have to do. Now look at 90% of the divisions out there don't have a novice get your stuff together class. You've got to just jump in and swim with the big dog. You figure it out. If novice classes, and it mainly seems to be the Sportsman, is the scourge of this novice bullshit, I gotta say. I don't see any other classes having novice other than Sportsman everywhere we go. Here's my beef with, though, we have guys out there who've been racing for 10 years. And I'm not going to name names, but I so badly want to, because this ass. Out there, every week on the internet, proudly telling how he won the race at Ranceville again in the novice Sportsman. You beat 4 guys, bud. Finished 3rd this week again in my Sportsman. Well, tell the whole story. Tell the whole story. There are only 4 guys on that track. And you're out there blowing your horn about a 3rd place finish. And this goes for, that's a whole other argument we could have about press releases and how they're full of shit up and down the line mostly too, and are terrible about how, Jason Lee or whoever it is had a fantastic night, finished 13th at wherever, Bumble F Speedway, and there were only 16 cars in the feature. That doesn't deserve a press release. But back to the sports. We have guys out there who are not novices, who race at other tracks, race at Merrittville, go to the Ransomville race and runs as a novice. Bullshit. It just pisses me off. I hate it. There, I said my piece.
So my thought on the matter is...
Yes, you're a wanker.
Yeah. There's no shame in qualifying for the feature and that being your victory for the night. Right? Like when Ken Hamilton finally qualified for a feature in the crate sprint cars, that's a huge momentous occasion. And it was a real pain in the ass for other drivers in the feature who are trying to get around him because he still uses a little bit of racetrack. He's still learning his craft. But good for Ken Hamilton, and I hope he was thrilled with that because it was an achievement. It's not a win. If there was a novice class, maybe he would get to that win. But there isn't one. It's the main class, so qualifying is your victory. You don't need a trophy to leave the racetrack feeling good. Figure it out. And we're blessed, and it's not always going to be like that at Ohsweken, but for the foreseeable future, I think it's going to be the hot spot. It's the place to be. It's where the action is. It's where people are proud of what they accomplished and they can show that off. And let me tell you, back in 1999, I was a rookie in the hobby cars, the vintage modifieds. My first win was Autumn Colors Classic 1999. They used to bring the top rookie of the race to victory lane. In some weeks, it was downright embarrassing because I'd have been leading the race early and spun myself out and then come back to finish 10th. And then I got to go to victory lane to be celebrated as the top finishing wanker that night. Like, oh my God, just let me go back to the pits and hang my head because I spun out and I was pissed. Like, it's an achievement, but I don't need to stand in front of the crowd. Like, they think they're doing sometimes good things, but it can be, not enjoyable.
Is winning, this is a good question, Richard. Is winning a B main better than winning a novice feature? I say absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because you've had to race the whole field. A B main is way more prestigious than winning a novice feature, right?
Yeah, it's a pressure-packed race. B mains, man, that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah. No, I have more respect for the guys that just want to run tail for the entire season than the guys that go out and do it. Am I fired up today? Everybody says I'm a bully. I'm up on the chip.
It's because you're not in your proper. Normally, you've got your ring light on and your eyes are beautiful and everything just kind of glows. You're not staged quite as well today.
No, that's funny. Yeah, the novice winner should be put in the main class. I'll give you that. I agree to that, Richard. If you win the novice race, you're no longer allowed back in the novice class. You got to go run with the big boys. I like that. I do need his stickers. I need someone to take the paint out of my back, but it's all right. It's been a good discussion. Where are we going from here?
What else got brought up? That love the way the show moves with certain sprints. Yeah, that warm-up track is a big deal, man, having the car started back there. Where do we want to go?
We got to touch on APC and NASCAR here in the last 20 minutes because we've followed them all year long. We've had them on the show consistently. So.
Oh, yeah. Stickers and Scuffs had that comment. Let's go back about what's too much. And Clinton and I have thought about this. The punishment has to fit the crime. So Connor raced on the weekend. I was really pleased with how he did, which is here nor there. But there's certain things that he could do at the racetrack that could get him punched in the mouth. And I would have to sit there and be okay with my kid getting punched in the mouth because I believe there are things you can do at a racetrack that warrant that. Going into someone else's pit with the wrong tone is one of those things. Going into tech and taking pictures of things you shouldn't take pictures of. That's one of those things. As far as what goes on the racetrack, I prefer the racing being left on the track. If you want to get someone back, get them back. If you don't get them back, the cool down lap is not the time to do it. You've missed your opportunity. Go back to the pits. But I really do think there are times when you need to stand up for yourself. And sometimes, and I don't even know, I'd love to hear someone like Tony Stewart's take on this because I've watched him do it. Sometimes you got to crash with somebody to show them you're not going to be pushed around. These things are so damn expensive anymore. I remember Mike Woodring talking about that with Gene Lasker down in Florida. Gene Lasker was a wild guy, and he wasn't getting the respect he deserved, and Gene was messing with him, and he parked his car right on his hood. You know, you do that with a sprint car, you're messing around. But after that, they never had a problem again. I don't condone fighting, but I do believe very much that there are things you can do in this sport. It's a self-cleaning sport. There's things you can do that can get you into trouble.
Where do you want to go? So APC this weekend. Was I supposed to respond to that a certain way?
No, not at all. Well, so Richard's point. So yeah, APC is going to be fun. Okay, let's talk about Richard's point real quick. Sean Chenoweth, he kind of backed up a little bit. Remember when he got back at Lane Zardo at Sunset?
Yep.
No, it was Garrett Temersma. He had that coming for a long time, but he did it in front of the field. And he almost screwed a lot of people. He did screw Lane Zarda, but thankfully he got back up through the field. And even Sean Chenoweth kind of chose his words real carefully after that race. But yeah, I don't like the thought of spinning someone out in front of the field. You got to choose your time.
Close battle coming up in the APC series. Quick super stocks, of course, tomorrow. And NASCAR. Adam, any thoughts you want to give to Delaware this weekend as we get into it? Lapsovich pretty much got to show up on Sunday. He's had a great season there. The ABC series still got a lot of action to go here Saturday. It could come down to a lot
of them. Wow. Both championships are going to come down to the wire. So Friday and Saturday, Superstocks and APC, they're going to be fantastic. It's going to be a hard-fought battle. I think there's going to be, in both races, I think there's going to be some drivers in the mix who haven't been in the mix all year long, so they'll have to deal with that as well. I don't think there is any more real rivalry between Chenoweth and Garrett. Like, I think he settled that score and it's done. Now, if Garrett's leading the race and Chenoweth is on his back bumper on the last lap, do I think he takes some liberties? Absolutely. But no, I think that's kind of done. But I love the thought of Noah Gragson coming up, and I hope they've got his Pinty's car sorted out because I'm not hearing good things about that. But either way, I'm a big fan of Noah Gragson personally. I like the kid. I've liked him since he was coming up here at the first big race at Jukasa when he was up here not racing, but saying, next year I'm going to be damn sure to get up here and have a car here. He is a hardcore racer.
Yeah, hopefully him and both Amber Balkan can have a good run on the weekend. What a great car count they've got for the finale. A lot of teams have come out. See Trevor Monahan's jump back into the mix and a few of the other drivers. One last kick at the NASCAR camp this weekend. Exciting. I think the race was off around 4:30 on Sunday. So we can check that out on Floor TSM around.
And they've called in the A-team to do the TV broadcast.
Who's that?
It's you.
Greg.
You and Dave Bradley. Oh, Greg and I will be doing race day. Yep. See Clint on TSN doing color commentary.
Mainly hear me. You don't see me. Even they cut it out from the Oshweekend race, just my voice, but that's okay. My mom always told me how to race a face made for radio, right?
Yep, exactly. Heard it.
Apple Fest weekend is this weekend at Brighton. If you're down the east end of things, make sure you go check that out. They always put on a fantastic show. Modified Sportsman down there Friday and Saturday. It's going to be super exciting, and a lot of the other Brighton classes. It's been a major event for 15 years now and continues to grow.
It's a phenomenal event. If you don't go to pavement races, then this weekend you should head down to Brighton Speedway. It'll be worth the drive. The action is always fantastic. You won't be disappointed. I think the bone stocks are going to be awesome at Delaware. I think that was a great call to add that class to that show.
I got the points here for the ABC series. Go ahead. I was
Just, my only concern with the Delaware weekend is the Sunday, the Pinty show. It's tough to make a Sunday race with the same hype as a Saturday show has, like a Saturday afternoon, evening in the fall. So sometimes that Sunday gets kind of lost in the shuffle, but I think it's going to be some really good racing. Bring up the points.
For the APC late models, Kyle Steckley is the leader with 5 points over Joe Lawrence, 10 over Jake Sheridan, 12 over Fitzpatrick, and 16 over Stoddard. So anyone in the top 5 could still be the champion. Danny Benedict is back at 26 behind, and Shea Gemmell at 31. But I think any one of those top 5 has a shot on Saturday night. So for TV guys like us, the drama is going to be amazing. Then we move on to the Super Stocks. Again, another close battle. Lane Zardo has Carson Nagy by 3 points going into tomorrow night's finale. Back in third is Chenoweth, 15 points back. Then it's a tie for fourth with Culver and Gord Shepard, 17 back. So again, anybody in that top 5 could go for the championship as well. Then as we look at the modifieds and hot rods as well, going down to the modifieds, Jason Keane leads TJ Edwards and Brian Batty by a total of 22 points. Back in 24th is Dale Reinhardt, so that series is still up for grabs. And the hot rods, looks like Tyler Hahn's probably got it wrapped up. He sits over Steve Book and Rob Bromley by 28 points, who are tied for second. But awesome to go into this race with a lot of things that could change. And Delaware's become kind of a quasi-second Friday night home for us. I know it's weird because we battle against them every Friday in the regular season, but I love it there. I wish they raced on Thursday night so we could go hang out there before Fridays or maybe even on Saturdays when we're not racing. But it's such a great spot. Make sure you go check it out. If you got any time, go up there. It'll be a great crowd, great atmosphere at Delaware this weekend, and make sure you get over there. So if you're in the West, you got to go to Delhi. If you're in the East, you got to go to Brighton this weekend.
And how much fun has it been? I don't know what changed this year, Clinton, but we've had more people come up to us. Had some people have us sign their flags and have pictures taken with us. More and more places we go, I just want to thank the folks that stop us. The ones who say, hey, we love what you're doing, or we watch the show, and the ones who say, hey, you talk too much, or hey, I really love what Clinton does and I can't stand you. It's all fine. I love hearing people's opinions, and it's really cool when they stop us and give us their thoughts, because you know what? It wasn't always the way, Clinton. We've been doing this for a long, long time, and it's really nice to hear that from people. Good, bad, or indifferent.
I think it's great when people come up and they know the inside jokes. Like I might write a couple weeks ago and somebody else, Clint, where's your banana? I'm like, well, they pay attention enough to know that bananas are an inside joke with us. So it's cool to have that going on. I think you hit the nail on the head this week. You said we look at the view count. It's got to be wrong for the number of people that come up to us and tell us they watch every week. Like shows 100 views. There's no way.
We're out in Newfoundland. We're out in Edmonton. People say, hey, we watch your stuff. We don't always watch it live, but we'll watch the replay of it. And we're just very, very appreciative of the people who choose to tune in, who choose to take their time and watch what we have going on. Because we piss and moan and bitch, and we kind of sometimes seem a little bit too nonchalant. But we've built something together. And when I say together, I don't just mean Clinton, Spencer, and Greg Callan, and Daniel, and Jack, and Abby, and all those people, but with all the fans as well, and the racetracks. Like, there's just been a bond between us, and getting to go around and see people and share in that has been really rewarding.
I think.
And Cam.
Yeah, it's been great. Oh, we just had so many cool comments fly by there. I want to comment on a few of them, but they're gone. Yeah, we appreciate it. Come up, tell us what you like, what you hate. We're there. We're race fans too. We want to bench race too. Just had someone ask about crate nationals. So we announced already the 360 nationals will be 20,000 to win minimum next year, and the crates are still going to be 5. We're not ready to jack that to 10, but we got 360 days to make it happen. So a lot can happen in a year as we get down with our major partners. I mean, the crates have been a great growth. To see 50 cars there at the Crate Nationals was awesome. To see the drivers in the East doing so well, I guess our hometowners don't like that, but you wouldn't want the East guys to come in and get their asses handed to them constantly. The fact that they're battling wheel to wheel and are leading the points shows that the East is just as strong with the crate sprints as they are up here. I don't know, Adam, any off-season challenges?
Yeah, I'm embarrassed at what happened to me this season. My off-season challenge, I want to find my jawline again. Dave Hunsinger's done a great job staying fit and staying active. In the Round the Bay race, the 5K race we did together, I tore a muscle in my calf. The pain still, if I drive somewhere, when I get up tonight, it takes me a few steps to get walking again. I'm embarrassed at just the way I ate this summer, and depression's a nasty thing. And it doesn't always come out as being sad all the time. It seems to come out of the McDonald's drive-thru at 1 a.m. an awful lot. So we'll keep that group rolling. And there's not going to be an official challenge, but yeah, I want to get back on the right path. And I'll never be as skinny as Clinton, but there needs to be a little bit less of me.
I could use a few pounds, man. Let's talk about getting us into the bone stock race. We're gonna have to talk to Captain Chris and make that happen next year. My last bone stock race, I started 24th at Flamborough, finished 11th. So I'll give it another go.
Why next year? Are we busy for Frosttoberfest? Isn't that a Sunday race?
If you can get us cars for Sunday, we're there. Let's do it.
All right. Put the word out.
I'm there. It is the Northern Sprint Car Nationals. Now, Kyle Tomaski. For those that don't know, let's just touch on that because I got a few questions about that this week. Here in Six Nations, the residential schools is very touchy subject, and a lot of families out here, a lot of grandparents are still alive who went through that. And when it all came to light 2 years ago, the situation up here between the Canadian government and the Six Nations folks isn't the best. They don't want to see the anthems. They don't want to hear the flag or see the flags. So it only made sense to switch it to the Northern Sprint Car Nationals. You can't have a Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. You can't fly the flag. You can't play the anthem. So we worked with some of the folks up here and felt it'd be a more inclusive name in the community, let's call it. So it'll now be known as the Northern Sprint Car Nationals going forward.
And keep in mind, we are welcomed. Every time we come to the track, we are welcomed with open arms. There's nothing but love and acceptance there. But their views on the Canadian flag and the national anthem and things like that, it's up for us to return the respect that they give to all of us to come in there and to their playground and say, yeah, we need to recognize this on your behalf out of respect for them. Honor their wishes, basically. But it's not like nothing is done out of spite or hatred. It's all done as a matter of love, as far as I can tell, and it's really impressive to me.
Yeah, Six Nations is situated within the boundaries of Canada, but it really is its own sovereign territory, and we're welcome. We're happy to be welcome to it. So, Scott just asked me what kind of car is this. I'll show you. It's Glenn's Z06 Corvette there that I'm standing behind. His 65's in the background, but I'll show you there on the way out because my camera tends to drop out if you start moving it too much, so I don't want that. What do we got to go to now? It's been amazing just to sit around bullshit. We don't get to do this. Seems like we always got an agenda and guests, so it's fun to just stream things down a bit. I think Spencer's probably still alive over in the corner at his place. He hasn't said much, but he's
I've got something, Clint.
I have a couple updates too, so go ahead.
What are we going to do once we have 50 or 60 crate sprints? Do you bring back the old days of a little feature? Do you even remember little features? So it was kind of like a B main, but it was meant to be something that was special. Give more people a chance to race. It's a great problem to have, so go ahead.
Richard says, explain the significance of the Monty with the flat tires. I wish I knew, Richard. I'm going to see if we can get that one moved. Glenn said, no, it's got to stay. I don't know who it belongs to, but we'll figure that one out. It's Blues Monte Carlo, the dog. Little features. No. I think we stay right where we are until we have B mains that are bursting at more than 24 cars, and we can't have them all in one race. And I think then we just go to the alphabet soup, a C main, a B main, and an A main. And if that becomes our problem every Friday, I'm okay with that. Back to the novice sportsman. We take a lot of shit when we have sending cars home that don't qualify. Like you said earlier, sometimes qualifying if they're 50 cars is going to be your win for half that field. Not all you're going to go for the $5,000. Just getting in and qualifying. And I've been there with my family team in the past, and I get it. So it's not like I'm just trying to be a cold ass on the outside. Those were the wins for us. When we could pull up to a tour race at Maryville Speedway, and there's 35 cars, and we have to race our way in. You know, we're high-fiving each other like we want. So that's one thing.
I want to know
Um,
what Jesse Costa knows about little features. Jesse, you're too young to know what a little feature is. I'm curious what he's done. We're going to have Jesse on the show in the next couple of weeks if he can make the time for us. Because what I'm talking about is just what Fran is talking about, was after the Consi was run. But again, you had fewer classes. I want to say how impressive it is that the shows got done very quickly. The last month and a half or so at Oshwegan, there were some really impressive nights of racing where we got done by 10:30. Where early in the season we were pushing 11:30. It was just really, really good job done by everybody involved.
yeah, I thought so too. I love the new qualifying system, dropping from the four heats to the twin qualifiers. I don't think that's going to go away here at Oshwegan. That's been really good. Just an update. So Monday I got back to it. We have pretty much confirmed our NASCAR Pinty Series date, the third year of that contract. That date will be announced soon. Working on a couple other big special deals. Can't talk about them yet. High Limit Series won't cross the border. World of Outlaws won't cross the border. So that's where we're at with both of those series right now. All Star, they weren't ready to talk, and I heard rumors that they may be merging with High Limit. I don't know what the deal is there. Either way, trying to find the 410 guys that want to come across the border is not easy. They just don't want to do it at this point in time. We've had discussion
Is
last
it the
week.
same?
That's the best update I got for you.
Do they still have the drawing power that they used to, Clinton? Like without Sammy Swindell and Donnie Schatz in his prime, is it still a big enough deal to warrant?
It's got to be out of for the amount of people that ask me every week about it. So I still think it is a big enough job. I had that same argument too. We used to be back in the day when, when we started bringing them, we had Jack Hodchild, we had Sammy Swindell, we had Terry McCarl, we had Steve Kinser. Like it was probably the best years of the outlaw rosters when we had them at Oshweek. It has faded a little bit, but yeah. John Watson asked, why does the World of Outlaw not want to cross the border? It's a good topic. Most of these guys are old, good old country boys. They don't travel anywhere exotic to Europe or Canada or anything like that. To go to Mexico for your beach vacation, you just need your license. You don't need anything special, enhanced driver's license, no passports. They don't jump through any hoops except to come to Canada. So when half the tour says, no, we're not going to get our passport, we're just not going to go to those races. As a promoter, when you lose them off the tour when they miss one race, you lose them off the tour. Then you don't have any way to get them back. I mean, NASCAR, the Cup Series, that's when it really came out this year that it was official when they started telling that they were going to come to Canada. They haven't announced the date yet, but it's looking like Montreal. And that's when they told everybody, they have given word to all the teams, you've got 18 months to get your passports together. So that was basically, okay, we're going to Canada because you need your passport. So they've given their teams a year and a half in NASCAR and the crews to get it. And I still think you're going to see a bunch of people from those crews who will not make it across the border because of DUI or any type of arrest in the States. Canada just won't let you in. So
Yeah.
it's a tough deal.
The other problem with the Outlaws coming up is most of their haulers were illegal in Canada. They had to come across
so
the
that's another
border,
thing, Adam.
disconnect their
So let's
toter
talk about
homes,
that.
hire a service.
So the first couple of years they came, what I'm saying is their toter lengths on their tractors, on their tractor trailers are too long for Canadian road laws. So they all had to be parked right at the border. Glenn had to hire something like 18 transport trucks to tow to the border, tow their trailers in. So now they don't have their home on their back. They don't have nothing. They have to stay in hotels. It's not a happy deal for them too. It's a pain in the ass all the way around, but we did it. But now they're not really looking to make that type of jump anymore. So we'll keep working on some cool events and probably concentrate on what Glenn says. Let's concentrate on what we built and what we know. And if anything was an indication that it was Friday, Saturday.
And the 360 racing is fantastic. Like 50 cars in the 360s, 50 cars in the crates. I'm off by a couple either way, but you don't get better than that. Well, you do. We're going to. But it's, you're getting A-grade entertainment. And I think if word gets out how much the show is going to pay, I think you'll see some people pop up, but really off the top of my head, Clinton, there's not many. That I heard Paulie Colagiovanni might have had some concussion issues. That's why we didn't see him come up. But really, there's not a ton more that I'd like to see that are any better than what we've got.
I agree. Someone just said go to 410 Nationals, but why put up all that money so a bunch of outsiders can take it? I love that our regular guys are coming in to get the money. And I think it's going to be back even more American guys next year. We lost the Ohio-Michigan guys. For some reason, the Americans from the west of Oshweekend didn't come. The New York guys did, but the Ohio, Michigan guys just didn't come. And I can't explain it. I think that border is even tougher than the Niagara border, but it is what it is. I think that's about it.
Well,
let's go.
You got a long drive. I got a long walk to the bedroom, but I enjoyed that, Clint. That was a good hour. The only thing that would make this better is if we were sitting together in the same space, maybe having a beer. I prefer.
You got to go to Mexico to have a beer.
That's right. I stay sober unless I'm south of the border, and then watch out.
I'll be having some beers. If you see us in the campground this weekend, come on by and say hi after the races. We'll be out socializing and have some good time in our last big run in the West on the pavement side. It's been another fantastic year for us with the APC Quick Wicks, Super Stocks. We love the way they treat us. And, man, I fall in love with that series. As a dirt guy, I love that pavement stuff. It's been great.
Yep. Yeah, it's great fun. It's going to be a fun weekend.
One last thing. Someone asked, will it be Canadian or American money? Always going to pay Canadian Oshweekend going forward. So if we announce 20,000, it'll be 20,000 Canadian. Cool.
There you go.
Thanks, Spencer, for everything you do. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. Make sure you come say hi this weekend if you see us about. We will be back at Homerstone next week. Non-colors after that. No Oswego coverage for us. We'll be at Autumn Colors. Talk to you soon, guys.
Yep.
See you soon.
Heading to Peterborough. Thanks for the comments, folks. You did great.
There's Lamon's car. I don't know if I can show it to you. Z06 Corvette, and then the 65 in the back here.
Pretty
fancy. All right, see you guys later. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Thanks, Spence.
See you, kids.